to the Horsemanship Remark Show. I knew we were going to have to start being careful about Michael and I both being a little bit behind today. So we're still waiting on Michael. But I wanted to get rolling since it wasn't, I don't want it to be too late every day. So I expect that everyone will have read the 2D60 problem blog that I wrote. Uh-huh. I'm saying that extremely facetiously just because I know it was weedy. Kip's so funny because, he read it and he's like, you need to take out this and this and this. And, I love his opinion on things, but I was like, I don't think so. I think I'm just going to leave it all. Here's Michael. Hang on. We're live here. We're going.
All right.
I
We
was
need
just
some this is getting a little too official, but we need some theme music, pump up music at the beginning.
for you.
We don't. Yeah.
For
Today
you.
I could use some pump up music.
I was just telling everybody, I hope they all did their homework and read the blog.
I didn't reread it.
Oh, that's kind of sad. It's okay.
I read it the first time.
You read it the first time and you did go to Harvard. So there you go. I was just
And
saying
we
how,
talked about it.
yeah, and we talked about it. And Kip was like, um, he's like, you need to break this up into 3 blogs. I was like, I don't want to drag it out that long. We have more things to talk about. So,
Well, okay, so not to claim more, whatever. But what did you think of my comments the other day? Because it was certainly um, much clearer to me after talking about it.
yeah, but is that because I could have cleared it up on the blog or just because it requires more discussion?
I don't know. It's a good question.
Well, it is the question though, right?
Well, in theory, yes, you could clear it up on the blog. Need you or should you? That's up for debate. I'm presuming that's what Kip is alluding to and saying it's 3. And you have more time to spell it out more, I guess.
Mhm.
Or maybe follow up explanation blogs or
Yeah, that's what I kind of was thinking. I was like, well, let's just get this one out. And then I think that it would, good morning, Susan. Good morning, Sarah.
good morning,
Um,
Gabrielle.
Gabrielle. Yes, duh. Obviously. Sorry. Good morning.
Uh, yeah,
Hopefully,
you could just kind of get everyone reeling and thinking, or reeling, depending,
well, I was doing
and then
both.
clarify. Yeah,
That's right.
well, there you go. So reeling maybe is fair enough.
Yeah. It was so crazy because like I would stand there in the barn and just be like trying to connect to the back of my brain more consciously, you know. It was an interesting experiment, but it's not something I want to do all the time, you know. Like occasionally. I think that's why I was resistant to breaking it up. Because I'm like, I kind of just want to take a break, you know. So, um, good morning, Corey. Good
The
morning, Phil.
question is, okay, so you have kind of 2 possibilities. Let's just say there's 2, um, perhaps more. One, it's kind of this back of the brain, a little bit ethereal sort of element that gets one thinking and imagining what you're alluding to. Did you post it today? Is it out there?
Yeah, yes.
Okay, yesterday. Um,
Because I
or
want to do their homework. That's why.
or it's this kind of I have no clue where this stops or starts or what you're even referencing. And I think I don't know that one's accessible for some people or and the other for other people, or if it's something that one would default toward versus another, or it's this is where my brain goes, but let me think about this. I don't know, but I don't know that it. To me, it left questions of more. What are you even referencing or talking about? Honestly, just being real, which I think I alluded to 2 days ago when we talked about it. Like, okay, what do you mean? What are you even meaning by this? Which isn't like, it's already out there, right? No changing it now. Um,
I just didn't have the capacity to change. I mean, there's
no,
just,
there's
I,
also time.
and I was at my limit, like talking about it, meaning like, we're not going to get this all sorted in one day.
Well, I didn't need to go that day. Whatever. It's good. I feel like I'm with Kip. It might be worth explaining it in a blog, or say folks get to listen to the remark show for a few weeks in a row while we hash this out.
Yeah, that probably would be smart. I can add that on the bottom. Did you guys read it? Did you guys read it? What are your thoughts, Chelsea? I'm so sorry that you missed the heart and soul. Um, so okay, so first of all, do you have other things that you want to talk about this morning, or should we use this as a jumping off place? I am okay either way.
um I don't
I,
know,
something
there's
I,
lots to talk about. I was trailer loading Gabrielle's horse yesterday, and that was fascinating. Couple thoughts on that.
okay, well maybe we should do that first. No, Julie, not the love language blog. That was from last week. So my goal is to have the horsemanship blogs out on Wednesday. So yesterday it was the 2D60 problem, why you can't solve a spiritual. What did I say? I can't remember its first line, but you can find it on Instagram or just go to my blog, go to think. So Sarah says she focused on the music part. That made sense because that made sense. Yeah. I think that's a good place to start. Well, let's talk about the trailer loading. One thing that I thought would be valuable to talk about today that I did bring to reference is the definitions of this six dimensions.
Yes.
And also I have a piece of dust in, like a little cotton ball or dust mote thing in my eye. So
Well, I don't know if you can see it, but I got like a little white spot next to my eye. Itches like hell.
is it a
It's not like a sty in my eye, but it's like on the side here. Mhm.
I don't
So
think.
I'm like trying not to itch it because it just makes it worse. But it's
Yeah.
been like 3 days on. It's like, when is this thing gonna go away?
Oh my gosh.
So okay,
Everyone.
trailer loading. I agree. The explaining the dimensions. Then as soon as you did that, I was like, okay, that puts more context to it.
Got
The dimensions wrapped in with the music, and I think there was another analogy in there. It was like, okay, we're kind of floating around pulling a number of analogies together. It was just, again, talking through what you were thinking in that, pulled those together and intermeshed them better than, to me, just reading the blog. Anyway, so we'll keep talking about it. I like the idea, absolutely, especially talking about it. Um, and it's given me, um, I don't know, I guess it, in a way, it just puts words to kind of, I think, what we're all doing if we're really searching for this. And yet, as I'm doing, I'm like, okay, but I don't, like we were talking about with Farah. That's the 3-year-old that is very, um, all the simulation is just a lot. Um, we were talking where I was kind of blending between the two and not getting too hung up on each dimension, if you will, and having them be linear, um,
Because they're
and
not.
having yeah, having them flicker into something like this surprising um, showing up of that sixth dimension for that moment that was kind of almost otherworldly, or just like an out of body sort of experience, or maybe a just fully in body experience. um
Yeah.
but then you're right back to, okay, flow mechanics, got to get the, the emotions are just freaking all over the place. And anyway, so it put words and gave like a way of flowing between how you're thinking about it, going, okay, we're I'm feeling this, or we're looking for that, have this in mind, whether it be the flow or the feeling, um, without getting too narrow mind, or focused too narrow. So anyway, that is has was in my mind working horses, and I'm thinking about it, it's like, don't get to focusing on where are we, what are we doing too much, but it also does put words to kind of what you are searching for, right? What you
What?
are on the lookout for, what you are aware might show up.
Mhm. Yeah, because like I said, it was kind of a starting point, and I wanted to get it out in time for us to talk about it. But I'm not making stuff up. I
No,
guess it's the thing. It's like all of this is real. We're just, you know, being able to,
describing it.
like you said, just yeah, sort of putting words to it, which is kind of important because we can be banging our head against the 2D, 3D wall um, the entire length of our life in regards of to horses
Well,
is which goes against nature, goes against the reality of the experience, and it goes against the disposition of anybody who is kind of in our little group. You
well,
know,
I was thinking that as we were talking about it, or as I'm sitting listening to you and others on the Heart and Soul talk about it, was like, how much of this is, depending on the individual, just a maturing, versus some who it is naturally who they are. How much does talking about it, acknowledging it, pointing someone to it, even if it's a stretch beyond the way they might be operating, does that maybe not rapidly speed up the maturing, but keeps them thinking in the process of more than two, three dimensions? I don't know. Or even like a fourth, fifth dimension that's undervalued.
mhm. And that could go against somebody's nature too, right? Like in the sense that the problem is what you don't want is well, what I don't want and what I don't recommend for other people. And as I'm helping people get more and more skilled in the mechanics, which is important, you could accidentally stunt your growth in the other areas. Depending on your personality, you might be more more apt to naturally hold on to the rest of it. We're going to explain it in just a second because otherwise people really are going to get lost. Um, do you know
I'm
what I'm
thinking, oh,
saying?
this is all just words because no one knows what we're talking about. Even if you read the article, you might be like, whoa.
Yeah.
Because
So
we're
let
operating on the fact that we talked about it and have kind of parsed out the dimensions. But
you should
no,
join horse.
I'm thinking of the uh
It could be a detriment, is all I'm saying. Even if you naturally like your disposition is an awareness, of existing in all six dimensions. Maybe you even work at that, and then trying to become skilled in horsemanship can wreck that. You know, um,
Mhm.
if someone around you that you trust, let's say, or so in other words, your community or your coach or whatever is like, all of that is bullshit. Let's just focus here. And that's why I kept trying to say that just because you're trying to be aware and grow, come together with your horse in all six dimensions, that all six includes the first two. you know
Yeah.
it's like it's part of it. So um
So
Lisa.
when I say mature, well, there's just a few thoughts rolling through my head, but when I say maturing, I'm thinking of like you read I think
Think.
it's called More Than a Horseman, and all the people reflecting on the influence of Tom Dorrance and just over and over, or maybe not even that. I think it's a video. Is it a video tribute to Ray, where they're interviewing a lot of names that I don't know, and um, but these folks that are like, I thought I understood, but like even though I've listened to Ray and worked with Ray and watched Ray for years, like this is infiltrated into other areas of my life, and I only now feel like it's sort of coming to fruition. And the Ray's obviously not parsing out what you're describing, but Ray is living what you're describing in a just fully embodied way. Like there is not just mechanics. There is not a separating out of the parts that are going on. It just it all flows together, and they're witnessing this, but probably thinking too much in mechanics, focusing in. I think that's most people's tendency. They feel like it's got to be the mechanics, which, like you said, it is. Like you need, which will tie into the trailer loading as well as tie into Farah last week and what I've been working on this week. Um, but it for many of most of the folks interviewed were men. It was like young, arrogant, gonna get it done, driven mentality. As maturity sets in and you realize, hey, this is a little bit more about the horse, or softening how I approach this is really what Ray was doing without saying, soften your heart. I mean, at the same time, that's what he was exemplifying. And there were things that he would say that were like, it's got to be about the horse. And you could say that. I mean, and how much do you hear that today? And I hate writing anything because it doesn't matter. You try to describe what you're doing. It's like everyone uses these words. Like this is so
But see what happens when
it
you do.
seems so cliche, right?
But
Unless you're Emma, who thinks in pictures and analogies, and
oh,
has another way of exploring it,
and
thinking about it, describing it.
what the hell? Yeah.
Yeah,
I wish you would write more though. Even if we just write for each other,
I hate writing so badly.
I know you do. By the way, Chocolate Lab Media, we'd love to know your name. We're all kind of here mostly every week, so welcome. Um, yes, the if I don't know. I guess this is if we just sit for a second. It's through everything that's ever been written about horses because it's inescapable. So, and certainly, as you say, I am today's version of all the thousands of years before me. Um,
You're
and
your version of it.
Yeah, and exactly. And so, because I'm experiencing with my horses, I have and a couple really close people, and then it kind of goes out and out and out and captures like the other people who are experiencing horses together. And then we can bring it into the present in a way that, so long as you're mixing it with real experience, it does, I think, become valuable. And also, it's part of sharing, you know, sharing the experience is what I think. Do you want me to just read these real quick, or
Yes, you should. Otherwise, it might be us just talking to one another and not
and
a lot of context for some of the folks joining us.
yeah, and it's good for me to just lay it out too. Okay, so um I got to thinking about the fact that there are multi-dimensional ways to perceive things, right? And they each have definitions. So first dimension, second dimension, third dimension, etc. So I'm just going to read these for you guys so you can think of it. Okay, the one dimensional thinking, or a one dimensional experience, or the reality of one dimension, is only length. Okay, backwards, forward, kind of like a bead on a string. And we could think about left and right too, you know. So when you go, like, when you think just in one direction like this in a line, that's dimension one, right? And none of us live there. That's why I jumped directly to two. Okay. So the second dimension includes a plane. So that would include um, length and width, like the flat surface of the arena. Okay. Um, so, you could think of it as like drawing on a piece of paper, and I would say that
Aerial view.
yeah, 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 totally. And so that's where, it'd be like the horse can go right, left, forward, and backward, and sideways, right? So then when we talk about space, and this is the difference between thinking of the rectangle just like as a box around your horse, that would be two dimensions. When you move it into three dimensions, that's when you think of length, width, and depth. So we have length. By the time we get to the third dimension, we still have length, we still have width, and now we have um, volume, depth, let's say. This is where I was like, oh, the rectangle is poofy. And when we say this is a 3D experience, this is what we do live in. And when Michael and I were traveling around trying to get around Buck Branham in real life as much as we could, the reason we wanted to do that rather than just watch a video or look at some pictures, video was a big comparison. What's the difference? And it's because it was a 3D experience. Well, it was more than that, but it definitely goes from like being able to just experience it like this compared to like being able to see the horse and the rider in full volume there. Okay, you guys follow me? So we have length, width, volume. I'm saying volume. That's maybe not the best. It's really depth. You could just say depth. So length, width, depth. Number four, or then when you get to operating in four dimensions, you add time. So that's kind of a heady deal, right? Because you think of time as a dimension. So it's sort of the 3D world moving through a timeline. And it depends on how you think about it. You could say start to finish. We're just not going to deal with string theory. And so time as a dimension is important. The things that right away come to my mind, Michael, are like our intuition as horse trainers, like more experienced horsemen, let's just say, I don't know, trainers, developers, whatever. There's an element of the horses needing to sleep on it, or like this cannot all be crammed into one day. Like there's an element of the horse moving pieces of paper from one side to the desk to the other. There's an element of the horse's memory. So this is the fourth dimension. Our memory, like our perception of how long a ride is, how many times we've done something. You know what I mean? So time is, but think about it, you guys. This is not something that I'm like, oh, let's add it. It's like, no, no, no. This is happening. So we have length, width, depth, time. Now you add the fifth dimension, which is what I was originally going to stop at, which is, you could say, the multiverse. The plane. This is the fun. The plane of all possible dimensions, all possible futures. So from any point in the line, the plane, the space, and space time, you could branch off into different versions of reality based on two different sets of choices. So every time we're deciding what to do next with our horses, the time line splits, right? So that's just a reality of how it's going to be. My result with a horse is going to be different than your result with a horse. For I mean, that's just the multi-dimensional possibilities, or we could just say the multi-outcome possibilities, right? And then the sixth dimension would be, you know that's where it depends. You could think about that in terms of the spirit, or you could really jump off into string theory. And I would say that the fifth dimension is where we start to talk about the two body problem, meaning all possible outcomes, um, or multi possible outcomes coming because we have another living thing that we're trying to partner with, that's making its own decisions, and we're making its own decisions.
You are, I can still hear you. I can hear you. I don't know. We're not gonna lose the show if you switch it. Um, right? I it, yeah. Well, I was going to say that. Uh-oh, they can't hear you. I can hear you. You look like you're gonna spill your coffee too. I don't know, something about the way the lens is picking it up. It looks like your coffee's about to roll out the front. You're holding your cup crooked. Can you guys hear Emma? She's frozen, yes, but can you hear her? Corey cannot. Well, let's see if other people respond. If they can hear you, then let's, I guess, keep going. Maybe. Did you try switching to Starlink? Nope, no one can hear you. So they don't want to hear me listening. Either that, or I could just talk about trailer loading for a while and we give it more time. But yeah, let's jump out. So Emma's gonna jump out, which means starting the show over. Sounds like. And then you'll lock them together once you throw them on Spotify or whatever, right? Okay. All right, everybody ready? We're gonna start a new live. We're gonna exit this one and try again. Got it?